Since the 20th century, society has been predicting flying cars coming out sometime in the future. And although there have been some attempts, none have been able to pull it off and bring it to market. But recently, a Chinese company, Guangzhou Automobile Group, unveiled the first ever car that can both fly and drive on roads. Which begs the question, is this the future of the automobile and aviation industry? What are its specs? And when exactly is this car expected to launch to the public? In July of 2023, during the Tech Day event in China, the Chinese state-owned automaker Guangzhou Automobile Group Co-Group (GAC) unveiled a futuristic flying car that can also be driven on the streets. Dubbed GOVE, GOVE, short for On-the-Go Vertical Flight Electric Vehicle, it's essentially a small pod with a one-seater, equipped with a vertical takeoff and landing, and it's electrically driven. The car is designed to operate as a flying taxi, eventually to become an option on ride-hailing apps like Uber or Lyft. And, like all flying cars, it borrows characteristics from helicopters, drones, and small airplanes. Designed to be an all-in-one mobility solution, the car's most impressive feature is that it splits in half, consisting of two separate vehicles, the drone and chassis, aka the frame where the wheels are attached, that separate before flight and can operate together or independently in both the air and on land. When the car takes off for flight, the autonomous wheeled base scoots away on its own and heads back to its docking station, wherever that may be, and since it's detached, the vehicle can even charge while you're in the air. The idea is that passengers can drive away once the car lands. The idea of the car is cool, but the specs are even more impressive. The car has a maximum takeoff weight of 500 kilograms, a maximum cruising speed of 80 kilometers per hour, a maximum flight range of 200 kilometers, and the maximum flight altitude is 3,000 meters. The car is also equipped with an advanced intelligent driving assistance system, which can realize automatic takeoff and landing, obstacle avoidance, navigation, and other functions, providing users with a safe, convenient, and comfortable travel experience. The most interesting part of the vehicle and the core component of the vehicle is the flight cabin, responsible for withstanding various forces and temperature changes during the flight. The cabin, along with most of the vehicle, is mostly made up of carbon fiber, a composite material with the advantages of high strength and temperature resistance as well as low density, making it 1/4 the weight of traditional metal material, and can effectively resist aerodynamic loads and temperature changes during flight. The company explained the capabilities, saying it would be able to fly and land immediately and can move in all directions, which is only possible because the GAC uses 90% lightweight composite materials, equipped with a 3 redundancy flight control system and multi-eye recognition technology so that the car can fly higher and more stably. Engineers and futures alike have been promising us flying cars for over a century, but as we all know, that hasn't happened yet, at least not in the way envisioned over the years. The reason why this car was developed is because the company appears to be anticipating demand for flying cars in southern China, where major cities such as Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, and Macau cluster close to the sea and an expansive river delta. The debut makes GAC the latest Chinese automaker to promise riders flying taxis, a still immature technology, after the Toyota manufacturing partner began recruiting for a number of aircraft research and development engineering roles a year ago. GAC envisions a future where passengers can easily access multi-dimensional mobility services ranging from electric air taxis to ride-hailing platforms, according to Wu Jian, president of GAC Research Institute, who spoke at the company's annual Tech Day event in Guangzhou. For context, several Chinese automakers have been working on electric vertical takeoff and landing air taxis, but none have yet received approval for commercial use from local regulators. In China, flying car makers are fast preparing to take their business into the mainstream in line with the government's agenda to support the emerging industry. The full-fledged commercialization of flying cars in China will begin in either 2025 or 2026, Gao Lang, CEO of Chinese flying car developer Aerofugia, said at the Tech Expo in Macau earlier this month. The revolution will surpass the electrification of cars. The global market for flying cars is expected to hit $1 trillion in 2040 and then jump to $9 trillion in 2050, according to an outlook by Morgan Stanley. China is on track to hold a 23% share of the market in 2050, second to America's 27% slice. So the future of flying cars is looking good for consumers. In a recent interview with Nikkei, Guo Liang, CEO of a flying car manufacturer, said flying cars will become a more affordable method of transportation than helicopters. As a new mode of low-altitude transportation, flying cars' fares will be a third or a fifth of helicopters initially, said Guo. It might be a little expensive for average people, but the cost will continue to go down. There have been instances where a conventional aircraft that won certification in China failed to quickly receive type certification in other markets. And Chinese flying car companies are attempting to hedge that risk by conducting test flights outside of the country. But friction between the US and China may complicate overseas expansion. As you can imagine, as cool and Jetsons-like the GOVE may be, it's still a long way away from becoming a reality and finally fulfilling the age-old promise of flying cars. One of the reasons is that the vehicle itself isn't ready for prime time just yet. And another reason is that the countries all over the world will most probably have a very hard time creating a legal framework for something like this. But fear not. In August of last year, China released a roadmap addressing flying cars for civil aviation, with plans to explore by 2025 applications for unmanned, short-range aircraft that carry people, according to the document. The announcement signaled that the government will develop rules for flying cars. In response, manufacturers of those vehicles began to be screened for type certification for commercial aircraft. Chinese players have conducted enough test flights to apparently take the top spot globally. As of the end of March, we set up hubs in 16 cities in China and conducted over 8,200 test flights domestically. He Xiang, vice president of Yihang, another manufacturing company, said in an interview, "Globally, we conducted over 35,000 test flights in 12 countries, and we believe that we're in the lead." So when will this quote-unquote car come out? The reason why this specific vehicle will take so long is because due to its split body design, it needs to obtain certifications for both airworthiness and car chassis before they can be taken to market. So far, no airworthiness certificate has been granted to any flying car maker except for testing. The manufacturer itself says that production and sales will, and I quote, "probably take a long time," and a timetable currently isn't available. However, if you're just looking for a flying car, don't worry. Companies like Ruki, Ribato Taxi, and more are closer to offering flying cars to the public market. So, the private sector continues to lay the groundwork for launching a flying car industry. But if the government is slow to create rules, or if officials impose harsh restrictions, the 2025 commercialization goal may be delayed. Check the link in the pinned comment and description if you're interested in a summary of this video, future updates of this vehicle, and channel. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.